Hello, welcome to Meanwhile in the Falklands. We're actually in the car. We've had a little technical issue in that I forgot to bring my keys to my house. So I have to go back. How are you feeling about this, Thomas?
Hungry. To tell you the truth, I'd gotten myself so excited for the infamous Paula Foams pancakes.
I promised you pancakes, didn't I?
Yeah.
We just got promised them and now it's been taken away from us.
So we're driving back, we're getting the keys, and the Meanwhile in the podcast Falklands? Meanwhile in the Falklands I'm hungry!
Meanwhile in the Falklands on the road edition.
Yes, well, we're getting a little bit hangry, so I think we'll leave you there and we'll join you when we've had some pancakes and some coffee. Right, welcome back. This is, part 2. We've had our pancakes, we've had a cup of tea, and we're all feeling a lot more relaxed.
We're full, we're happy, we're all ready for the nap.
Yes. What time is it? It's 20 to 12.
I mean, that's probably our latest start for a podcast in a while.
No, we might as well just stay here and just have lunch anyway. It's been a good week, hasn't it? We've got Hannah coming back next week, so we'll be back up to full flow. Things that have happened this week, we've now condensed the office, so we're all in 2/3 of the office that we did have.
We've got a big empty space at the back.
Second time Hannah's been away in recent history, and second time the office has changed while she's been away.
And you're saying about the space at the back, that's your dance space,
Yes,
isn't it?
It's our activity centre. Tom was
No, I was thinking you personally.
Oh, me personally. Yes, I've been dancing all week in that little space.
When no one spoke to you about earwigs, you did it.
Yes. I was like, thank God.
He
No
did
one's
an
speaking about
interpretive
earwigs.
dance. He became...
I became the earwig. Yeah.
Yes. That's a little in-joke for everyone in the Falklands. If you've not been to the Falklands, we are overrun with earwigs.
If you know anything about earwigs and want to talk about them, then let me know.
And if you're a vegetarian...
Yeah, and if you're a vegetarian, also let us know.
Even better.
So a lot of Kyle's stories falling by the by here.
Pretty much.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Kyle,
Jesus,
answer the
what's
phone.
that?
You have to say Foams residents.
Hello, Foams residents.
So apologies for that. That was Steve talking to me about tax returns.
The most thrilling part of our week.
Hey, listen, I strongly advise anyone to get married to an accountant. They have to think
That's
about
good.
these
That's
things.
good
They
advice.
do it all for you. Yes, so it's been a busy old week. Your dance space, earwigs, vegetarians. I think that's just summed up that bit, hasn't it? Right.
But you were saying with Hannah coming back next week, we had a departure though, don't we?
Oh, we did.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we brushed over. We've got a new person. We've got Hannah returning, but the person who's been occupying Hannah's desk since I got back has left us. He's flown the coop.
Oh, you're a bit emotional about it.
Yeah, I'm never going to see him again.
Tyrone. You will. Tyrone, who has been fantastic. He had got his GCSE results yesterday, and he did very well. Good lad.
Really, really well.
He's off to college, but for the last few weeks he's been helping us out. And actually, I am so impressed with him. His multicam edits, top notch.
And it's been fantastic being able to do things like the political programme we do, Talking Point, and just being able to then hand that to him, because that's half a day to a day's worth of editing, and it's just like for one of us who could be out there doing stories or looking at something else, it's not hard, it's just time consuming. And being able to give that to him, he's doing it in the exact same amount of time it would take us to do it. The white balance was off last time, so he was re-white balancing. I didn't tell him how to do it. I don't know if someone else did in the last few weeks, but I mean,
I think he Googles it.
He's he was colour correcting, he was making it look better, and I was just like, Tyrone.
Nice word. So we've learned a new word this week, which is transmedia.
Transmedia.
And Kyle is now going to tell us what that means, because he's the only one who knew what it meant.
We Googled it and I still don't know what it means.
I say I knew what it meant. I had a blank moment in my brain when it came up, and I was struggling to figure out what it was.
Didn't you then turn around and say that you wrote an essay on it in
I think I probably did. I know essays about a lot of things. I wrote an essay about Lady Gaga when I was in university.
This is reminding me now of how it all occurred in the week, because it wasn't Tyrone who eventually
Googled it
and read it out, and you just went, "Oh yes, that's what it is."
That's what it is.
Yes.
So transmedia is the idea of having presenting stories and information on a variety of different platforms and interweaving those platforms together.
What do you mean by platforms? It's not scaffolding.
So it's not just, hey, I've made this thing for TV and I've made this thing for Twitter, and they're the same story, but they're just the same thing. It's about incorporating the way you talk about a story via using Twitter and then incorporating it into maybe making a YouTube video and maybe then making it into a Facebook post and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's just getting all the different parts of media and then slamming them together into
Excellent.
one
And for
thing.
those who are still awake,
I'm proud of that. I remembered.
you did very, very well done. I think we will have. Do you know what? You have those like chat shows, and then the more the comedic ones, and then they'll have like a little sting, and then there'll be just like a little clip or something, and that's what we need to do. So we can do sort of
Tech corner.
Tech corner.
well, journalism tech corner, and then we'll have me. Paula uses physics.
Nice.
Because Thomas came with a tripod. Absolutely certain that
It was the tripod plate on the bottom of the camera, and I couldn't get it off. I was like, I'm going to snap my fingers in half, because we have a little Allen key for it, which has been misplaced. But we won't.
that
get
was
onto
misplaced for
It's
everyone.
vanished.
It has vanished like an old oak table. It's a little Blackadder reference for you guys out there. No one else got it, I don't think.
Is that copyright?
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't do it, and I couldn't get it off of my fingers. And I brought it in, and Paula was going to town with her hands. And I was like, "You're gonna hurt yourself. You've got to stop. You're gonna hurt yourself." But she pulled out a stick. Stop laughing.
Mrs. Foams is clamping her hands over the mouth to stop laughing.
She's so red right now.
Oh my god.
She was going to town with her hands. What's wrong with that?
Right, I just cut all that out because it just. Yeah, I just cut all that out. Listen, I don't think you really needed to hear all that, but anyway, Tom, you're getting a new tattoo.
The tattoo isn't a source of entertainment,
No.
I hope. We're just still in the aftermath of...
Of your description. But anyway, no.
Okay.
On
But yes,
all
Moving
seriousness-
on.
I'm looking to get a new tattoo probably after I've left the Falklands, just because I don't think the tattoo artist that I like down here will be back in that point. But I would like one related to the Falklands, and I'm struggling with concepts because apart from like penguins and albatross, I can't really think of something else that I think is quintessentially Falklands. Get a Land Rover tattooed on my back or something. But I just feel like a penguin or something. It's a little bit too feminine for me.
But you showed me one of those the single line.
The continuous lines.
Yeah,
So it's like
that was really good.
Like continuous line drawings where you do the whole thing without taking the pen off the paper. Well, it's become quite a popular style of tattoos now as well, and I've always really quite liked it. But
See, I liked Paula's suggestion of you getting a tattoo of her face.
in drag.
Yes.
In drag though.
Yes. Oh no.
Do two, one in
I could
drag and
certainly
one
do
out of
that. I did that. I downloaded an app that makes your photograph look like a picture, and I could just do that. And yeah.
Yeah.
So you know how like people get like eagles spread across their backs? I'm going to get that
You
picture
get
of you in
Osley.
drag with your arms out.
We're putting that on the
Osley
YouTube
with
channel,
some
by the way.
Falklands goose wings behind him.
Oh yes, upland geese,
There
a
you
fox
go.
in the background chasing it.
This is going mad.
Yeah, well, listener, if you have any recommendations for things you think are Falkland Islands and could be a good tattoo, do get in touch with me, news@fitv.co.uk. I'm open to suggestions.
Yes.
And if you want to draw it as well, if I like it, I'll stick it on my body. There we go.
There you go.
When I become famous, you'll be famous.
And we're still on you, actually, Tom, because you
Oh.
are Employee of the Week.
I'm always Employee of the Week.
No, that's not true. I think Paula was
I
Employee
was
of the Week
employee of
last
the week
week.
once.
You were
once.
Employee of the Week this week because you wore the jumper that I knitted and my husband didn't wear.
I mean, we won't. We'll sort of brush aside the fact that I only acquired that jumper because I was with Steve when he was taking a load of stuff down to the Seafarers Mission to donate for poor sailors coming in who are lacking things, and I saw that
So
jumper.
you've
and I was
stolen it from poor cold sailors.
Wait. I always admired that jumper when I came over and Steve was wearing it. He was never a big fan.
He
I was like,
never
you know
wore
what?
it. He wore it once. And then he wore it to the cathedral once. They had some kind of like Christmas something or other, and he wore it to that. And someone said, "Oh, what? Tell me about your jumper or something." And he went, "Oh, Paula knitted it." And they laughed. So it's not the best knitted thing ever, but it's...
No, but it's big, it's
Big,
warm,
it's
it's
comfortable.
comfy, it's great, and it kind of works. I like baggy clothes, and I like that half homeless look. So
Yes, you are.
I don't think
Bless
it's fair if you're stealing clothes that Paula's knitted just so you can get brownie points.
But employee of the year.
Well, I have a nice mixture of brown nosing and and disagreeing with Paula, so it equals out.
You've got quite the stolen jumper collection.
Oh yeah, I do actually. I've got another stolen jumper.
And there's the yellow one as well.
That's a Falklands wool one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, friend of ours, James from New Zealand, left it in our house after a soiree.
A gathering.
Because we can't have parties. And he went back off to New Zealand and forgot to get the jumper. I messaged him when I got back saying, you forgot your jumper at our house. And he was like, just keep hold of it and bring it to me the next time you come to New Zealand. So I'm going to exchange the jumper for a place to stay when I go on a day to New Zealand.
Nice, yeah. And listeners of the podcast will know that you had a yellow jumper that we'd found in the studio once. You had.
That was a horrible jumper.
I told you to wear it for the day, and you did. Employee of the week.
Yeah,
again.
You see.
Well done.
Right.
I'm good at sucking up.
Continuing with our theme of films, because we now have a cinema in town. You guys
Our
went
cinema
off
corner.
and watched Green Book. So
Tom saw
not
it. I've
taking
not seen it.
longer than 5 minutes. Tell us about Green Book.
Green Book is the story. It's based on a true story of a musical doctorate in piano. He was a black guy in the United States, and he was going on a tour in the deep south of America.
Based on true stories.
Yes, absolutely. He was going on a tour in the deep south of the United States, and he employs an Italian-American bodyguard well, he's more of just a driver, but also there to make sure that if he gets into any trouble, which black in that time in the States always going to be. So if he was going to get in any trouble, the guy could protect him, and it's the story of like their friendship and them getting to know each other and then a changing of views. And we were talking about going to see the film, and a friend of ours said that he didn't want to go and see it because he was so tired of, to paraphrase, these white savior movies of like, oh, the black person was put down and therefore the white person came in and saved him. And honestly, having watched it, it's not that at all. If anything, the protagonist, the doctor, I can't remember his name now, who it's based on, he doesn't need saving at all. He needs a little bit of protection, but he doesn't need saving. It's more about him opening up the eyes of the driver to the struggles they go through, and actually more widening his view of the world.
And it's Viggo Dudar.
Yeah, it's Aragorn.
Aragorn, basically.
Yeah, it's Aragorn. Viggo Morgenstern.
Let's call him Aragorn.
Yeah.
Viggo
So
Morgenstern.
I thought you went to see it, Carl.
No, I've not. I didn't. I've read the plot of it. I read the plot of it back when the film came out in the UK, but I've not actually seen it. But I've heard good things, and Tom makes it sound really good.
Yeah, this is the spoiler alert moment. Spoiler. So just mute for 30 seconds. And now, it's not just, there's so much more to it. I read the synopsis and it was, black guy in the South America. Okay, that's okay. But the story has so many more layers to it. And went to see it with a friend called James. And James is gay as well as being Filipino. And so James has experienced racial as well as homophobic issues throughout his life. And the main character in this film, you discover as the film goes on, is homosexual as well. And it's sort of like, it hit really hard with James, and we came out after, and genuinely we had to go to the bar and have a drink. Like we all went and had a drink together to sort of digest it. But there were so many ups and downs. You were laughing and you were crying. It was phenomenal. And there's so many more layers to it. You read the synopsis, you're like, that sounds like a good movie. Yeah. But you come out of it and you're like, oh my God, this is genuinely blown me away.
It did get some...
Got some Oscar buzz, I think.
Oscars, didn't it?
Yeah, I believe it got Oscar for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it got some other awards as well. Yeah. But yeah, genuinely, if you have time to go and see it, I would definitely recommend it. Definitely.
So the other thing that's happened, obviously Thomas is leaving, so we've put out a job advert on our usual places, and we've started to get some in, but it brings me round to the same old thing when you're applying for a job. And so, Carl, because you haven't talked a lot in this, are you given lessons at uni about how to apply for a job?
I don't know if we were given lessons. I know there was at least in my university, there was a career service you could go to, and they could you could show them their CV, your CV, and say they'd look through it and go, oh, and you should change this, and maybe think about doing this, and set it out in a different way, and blah blah. And I think there's occasionally careers fairs you can go talk to employers and that. But I don't know if there was ever hey, when you're applying for the job, look at this and do this and keep this in mind, that kind of thing, in so many words.
What about you, Thomas? So they did that at your uni?
There was nothing. It's difficult because it's a lot like everything else with university, where it's that point in your life where, hey, the tools are there, but you have to go and seek them. It's not hey, sit down here for an hour, this is mandatory, we're going to teach you. You have to go there and you have to find out how to do it. And I must admit, I was not one for going that extra mile to better myself in a professional and academic manner. I was always looking for the quickest way to the finish line and when I could go on my next skiing trip. That was very much my 3 years at uni. So I think the services are available, but I personally haven't utilised them, so I wouldn't be able to really comment on how good they are.
A few years back, I had a CV through, an application through, and it was for James, who was here. And I printed it off, and I remember holding it up in the office and going, I'm interviewing this guy just based on what it looked like. Single pages. Right, here's my top tips, right? Here's my top tips. First of all, single page. I haven't got time to read 5 pages of CV about how, what skills you gained from working in a coffee shop for 3 months.
Do you think also when you say single page, do you think, because this job in particular, it's not just for recent graduates, but it's the perfect job for a recent graduate. So a single page often is all you need. But I think would you agree that once you get a little bit later on in your career, I know, for example, I'm putting my CV together again at the moment, and with my experience now, especially my experience here at FITV, I've done so much over the last few years that containing it to one page is just so difficult.
Perhaps 2, but
nothing really beyond that.
I think
nothing beyond
my
to
CV's
definitely
on like 2
2.
pages, but it's not.
But literally, we
founded.
don't need to know that you got customer skills.
But I think that's
interaction from, because we know that. The other thing I need you to do is to make sure everything's spelt correctly, because that irritates me so much. When you don't spell things properly, and you need to double check what things say, because there is a difference between dairy and diary. So get it sorted.
What are some of your other ones in terms of spellings you've had recently?
Somebody put utilities instead of utilise. I've had mesmerise instead of memorise.
Oh God.
And it's just stupid things like then rather than than, and things like
just
that.
because it's been typed out quickly, and when you're in that job market. Sorry, you can run.
I was going to say, I think the thing with cover letters is that like with a CV, it's good to customise it and tailor it for the individual jobs that you're applying for. Definitely, that's what I try to do. But there's a certain point when you're like applying for jobs that's just like, I don't want to have to write another cover letter. So I think you just stop looking at it as much. You stop picking up on the finer details of what might be missed because you've done so many, and because you're kind of just sick of looking at it.
And the big thing
to detail,
is there is 4 essential criteria for the job that we're putting out. 4 essential criteria. So make sure that those 4 things are on your CV or your covering letter at some stage.
It's one
because
of the big
otherwise
things
you
this
won't
job
be
taught
looked
me,
at.
It's one of the big things being involved in the recruitment process with FITV over the last couple of years. I don't really know if I included all the essential criteria in my application. I mean, I must have, otherwise I never would have got an interview with you. But I do remember seeing on the essential criteria, you need a full clean UK driving licence, and upon seeing that, I went and changed the header on my CV, which included my email address and my phone number and my address. I whacked full clean UK driving licence on there as well, just because I saw that.
Anyway, let's move on from there. Our office, which is... Sorry?
I was going to... Sorry, it just popped in my head, but as a final top tip for CVs...
Yes?
If you are applying for the job, have 2 different versions of your CV. One that's creative and fancy and looks lovely, and one that's just a plain text document with all your CV stuff. Because there's so many jobs where you have to apply through an online form, and if you're using something that's wonderful and creative and you've put things here, there and everywhere, it will not recognise it. It will not recognise half the stuff that's on your CV, and when it goes through the system, what comes out on the other side to employers is just a spreadsheet about, do they have this, do they have that, do they have that, and if your one can't be read, then you won't.
No way.
Oh, Oh,
I didn't know that at all.
gosh,
It's awful.
that's like Transmedia, isn't it? We've gone up a step there.
Well, I thought you were saying Carl just put the listener to sleep again.
I may cut out a lot of the stuff about that. So if the sound has dipped at any moment, it's because I've cut out something. But anyway, yes, our office is very male dominated. I've got here smells like boys in our office.
So you said someone came into our office this morning, is that it stank of boy?
It smells like boys.
Well, that's good because for 9 months I was outnumbered.
And it smelled like girls.
3 to 1. It didn't smell like girl. It was just touchy.
So, following on from last week, where I had a weird person trying to follow me on Instagram, I had a weird person trying to follow me on Twitter. I don't think you were in the room when I told you this this morning.
No.
So
You've got a lot of weird people trying to follow you.
Yeah. Well, it was this
sometimes
guy.
you've got to think that maybe there's a common denominator here.
Well, listen to this and let me know whether I've done the right thing, because I've actually just blocked him. So it's a guy, and he's got like a proper guy's name, but he's got one follower who's a woman of a certain type,
Okay.
but he's only following
like a bot-esque woman.
Yeah, but he's only following women.
Oh, interesting.
Well, look, they do say follow what you're interested in.
So anyway, I've blocked him.
Cut a shortly stop.
Yeah.
Cut a shortly stop.
Cut the story short. And to finish off with, your handwriting.
Oh, God.
Have you ever thought of a career in medicine?
I think that's the only thing that would qualify me for a career in medicine.
For pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. I don't know why it's so bad. It's just awful.
Are you quite artistic?
Can you draw?
Can you draw?
God, I hesitate to say I can draw. If I sit there for long enough, I can maybe make something that's okay.
Okay.
But most of the time, probably not. But I did do an art GCSE and I did get B in it.
Oh.
I did a lovely painting of 3 screwdrivers and a giant kiwi behind them, because we had to do a project about
Screwdrivers
nature and mechanics, and that
Okay.
was...
Did you use the word juxtaposition? Because that's what you always use in
Oh my
GCSE
God,
art.
I'm so sick of that word. Still sick of that word. God, even hearing it then shed a shiver down my spine. There's two things about art that I'm sick of: Anthony Gaudi and juxtaposition. God.
So if you're a fan of those and you're
Yep.
a vegetarian and you know anything about earwigs, please get in touch.
Please let me know.
Let us know. I think one last thing before we go though, just like to say we're about to become stars of the big screen.
Oh,
yes.
aren't we? Yes.
We've
that's
done a
the-
lovely cinema advert.
Yeah. So the cinema are wanted us sort of an animation to sort of say where the exits were and no smoking and things like that. At the moment, they've just got plain cards, but they wanted something moving. So animation is on its way. Tom's working on that. However, in the meantime, we did a little FITV, plug, and
Shameless.
Shameless FITV educational advert.
and your line, Kyle.
Oh God, which line? Because I messed up
If
two
there
of them.
is an emergency,
If there is an emergency, the exit is at the front of the screen to the left. I still messed it up. I don't know why it's so hard.
But I think it worked all right, and then it was so it was a massive shameless plug to begin with. It could be a little bit better, but for something that was put together in a day.
and all the in-camera transitions, I think they quite like those in-camera.
Yeah, I think they work pretty
transitions.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So for somebody who doesn't know, that's when you do the transition
with the camera.
with the
itself.
camera rather than in post.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
it was. I don't think it was too bad. What's going to be terribly awkward is going to the cinema and watching a film and
seeing
having
your
my
giant
face
face.
on the
Yeah.
screen at the start.
full screen,
I'm literally
4K.
gonna. It's gonna be
Yep.
hood up over my face
I think
until
if-
it's done.
If I go to the cinema from now on, I'm just going to turn up late, just so I miss it.
Just standing outside chatting away to Nicola until that bit's done. Yeah, how are you doing? Yeah, okay, that's done. I'm gonna go in now.
No, the film's almost starting. Yeah, I'm okay. Don't worry.
So we haven't said what's on the programme this week. It's not earwigs. It's not
It's not
vegetarians.
It's not vegetarians.
Um,
It's a lot of dogs.
oh yes, there
Plenty
is.
of dogs.
Bird fair.
Do you like dogs?
GCSE results.
Mm-hmm.
A Falkland Islander recently named captain of an Australian icebreaker.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
New
that's in there.
lava
as well.
lake in South Georgia.
Yeah,
Ooh la
that's
la.
interesting.
One of only.
One of only 8 in the world.
Nice.
Look at that for a fact
Look
for
at
your
that.
listener.
Yeah. So that's all coming out this week. That's on week number 443. You can catch it online by going to fitv.co.fk, or you can watch it through the KTV platform here in Stanley and some of camp, but not all of camp.
Yeah, channel 800 for the SD and 855 for full brain.
856.
What? We've changed?
We have changed.
I don't like it.
No, 856, which is why we don't say it on the programme anymore, because we were saying to people it's 855 and it wasn't, it's 856. Anyway.
It did used to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't do change with you. You don't like change.
Join us next Friday. Hannah will be back.
Yep.
Whether we'll have pancakes or not is another matter.
Yeah, pancakes for 4 might be a little intense.
We'll get 1 pancake each.
We shall see you next week.
See you next week.